I spent 15 months with Prince Harry writing his biography. So I think I know him very well, and I think I can tell what mood he's in. So I don't think you can say to me, oh, it was just I was wrong about that, because I think I was right. And when I see him, Meghan pulling him along and he's always behind her, I feel exactly the same.
When do you see
So
that? When do you see that? Are we looking at, okay, here's some video footage here. Is Meghan pulling him along there? He's grabbing her wrist, pulling her along.
how many
How
pictures
you
have you
interpret
got?
things is how you interpret things.
They're being ridiculous. How many
you
pictures
interpret
have
things
you
in a
got
very strange way.
Meghan and Harry walking? Well, that's my way.
Oh, well, there's another video of Harry walking in front of her, pulling her along. It's not Meghan doing it, is it?
Well, you've picked
Angela,
those two. You might have picked those two, but I've found them when she's pulling him. So you can't tell me out of two pictures that I've got something wrong.
Well, it sounds like you've got a vendetta against Meghan Markle. That's what it sounds like. You sound like, Angela, with respect, you sound like a troll. You sound like a social media troll. Everything you can point out that's incorrect.
Very rude. You don't call someone a troll with respect. That's without respect.
No, it is with respect.
Let me talk about something else. And we would see her lying on the grass, hugging it with the dog close by. It was a very sort of set up thing. That's one when she's sitting up. You're sitting down. And I thought, how ridiculous. This is a jar of jam. Why are we all getting hysterical about a jar of jam?
Who's hysterical about it? It's PR. She's trying to sell something. This is called advertising.
I know what PR is. I know what PR is.
Well, with respect, clearly you don't. You're saying it's so set up. It's a PR stunt.
You're here to fight me, so why don't you say goodbye?
I'm not here to fight you. I'm just laying out the truth to you.
You're very rude.
No, Angela, you don't want to be challenged. You won't be challenged and you won't be scrutinised. I'd like to know. Oh, and she's gone. You see, this is what happens when you challenge people. When you go to them and you say to them, "Here's some facts. Here's some truths." Some people don't like it, and if people can't answer the truths, what do? They hang up.
Oh, Angela, you've spent years trashing Meghan Markle, built an entire career sneering at Harry's every move, but the second someone, finally, calls you out to your face, you fold like a soggy tabloid. Welcome, my fam. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Here, we celebrate Prince Harry and Meghan Sussex. Talk TV host JJ Anisobi simply asked, "Why do you always sound like you have a vendetta against Meghan?" Now, that moment wasn't just TV gold, it was poetic justice. Because for years, Angela has enjoyed unchecked access to platforms where she peddles bias as analysis. But the second that script is flipped, she disappears like facts in a Daily Mail headline. Ha 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 ha. Oh, Angela Levin, the queen of royal commentary, always ready to pounce whenever Meghan Markle breathes. And yet, the moment someone calmly asks her a fair question, just one simple, direct question, she absolutely loses it. So, it happened live on Talk TV. JJ Anisobi, who's known for being a calm and measured host, asked her what so many of us have wondered for years. Why do you always sound like you have a vendetta against Meghan? And honestly, that was it. That was the moment Angela unraveled. She fumbled, she protested, she accused JJ of being rude, and then, without any warning, she just hung up. Just like that. Gone, vanished. Not because she was shouted down, not because she was bullied, but because, for the first time in a long time, someone held up a mirror and said, "Explain yourself." And she simply couldn't. It was a viral moment, but, more than that, it was actually pretty revealing. Angela Levin, who's spent the better part of the last 5 years bashing Meghan and Harry across every media outlet that will have her, couldn't tolerate even 30 seconds of introspection. And if that doesn't speak volumes, I really don't know what does. To really understand what happened here, we need to rewind the tape, not just to the interview, but to Angela's rise as a so-called royal expert. Because Angela didn't start out as Meghan's enemy. In fact, before Meghan entered the royal family, Angela was honestly one of Prince Harry's biggest fans. She called him warm, relatable, the people's prince. She wrote a glowing biography praising his military service, his charity work, his ability to connect with everyday people. She adored him, or at least she adored the version of him that fit neatly into the royal box. And then Meghan came along, a biracial, outspoken, independent American actress, educated, articulate, successful in her own right. Meghan didn't wait to be shaped by palace tradition. She stepped into the institution with ideas, with confidence, with compassion. And suddenly, everything changed. Angela flipped, completely. The same Harry she once praised became a man led astray, lost, controlled. She began implying he had been brainwashed by Meghan, that he had abandoned his duty, his family, his country. Overnight, the Golden Prince became a shell of himself, at least in Angela's imagination. Why? Because Harry made a decision she didn't approve of. He protected his wife. Angela's language ever since has been telling. She doesn't simply critique Meghan's actions, she assigns malice to them. Meghan can't just love Harry, she must be manipulating him. If she holds his hand, she's pulling him along. If she speaks up, she's dominating the narrative. If she stays silent, she's calculating. It's not analysis, it's a witch hunt. Carefully coded, but unmistakably targeted. Let's be honest, this isn't just about a difference of opinion. It's about who Angela sees as acceptable in the royal family. Because Meghan challenged the rules, not just in fashion or in protocol, but in identity. She brought her whole self, race, culture, womanhood, and refused to shrink. And for Angela, that was unacceptable. Over the years, Angela has appeared on every network that will host her, GB News, Talk TV, Sky News, peddling the same tired narrative. Meghan is a danger to the monarchy. Meghan is divisive, Meghan is fake, Meghan, and yet you'll notice she rarely brings receipts. She repeats headlines from tabloids, she recycles rumors, she quotes anonymous palace aides and insiders, but hard evidence, balanced perspective, nowhere to be found. Even more disturbing is her selective outrage. Angela has little to say about serious royal controversies. When Prince Andrew was facing very real, very public allegations tied to Jeffrey Epstein, Angela responded with caution and sympathy. But when Meghan released a podcast about gender stereotypes or shared her mental health struggles, Angela pounced with fury. Think about that. The double standard is glaring. It gets even worse when you realize just how dependent Angela has become on the very woman she claims to despise. Meghan is her content, her career, her oxygen. If Meghan disappeared tomorrow, what would Angela write about? Who would she rail against? Her commentary is no longer about the monarchy. It's about one woman, a woman she clearly resents, fears, and frankly envies. And then there's Harry. Angela still pretends to speak for him, claims to know the real Harry, despite the fact that the Harry she once admired has spoken publicly, in his own words, about why he stepped back. He said it clearly. The British press was destroying his mental health. He feared for Meghan's safety. He watched history repeat itself, Diana's torment revisited, and chose to walk away. That's not weakness. That's bravery. Harry and Meghan didn't flee duty. They redefined it. They left behind an institution that ignored Meghan's mental health pleas. They left a system that wouldn't publicly support them against racist headlines. And they left not for silence, but for freedom. Since stepping back, they've built something real. Archewell, Invictus, partnerships with Netflix, Spotify, and now these new independent media ventures. Meghan's As Ever brand sold out in just minutes. Harry's documentary with Oprah, it really helped people around the world talk about trauma. They're not hiding, they're healing, they're working, they're thriving. But Angela won't acknowledge any of that. Because honestly, to do so would require admitting she was wrong. That maybe Meghan isn't the problem. That maybe Harry isn't a hostage. That maybe love, truth, and setting boundaries aren't signs of manipulation, but actually signs of growth. And that brings us right back to JJ's question. It wasn't rude. It wasn't aggressive. It was fair. Why do you always sound like you have a vendetta? The kind of question that, makes someone look inward if they have the courage. But Angela didn't. Because, Angela's just not used to being questioned. She's really used to monologues, not dialogues. She's used to platforms, not pushback. And when someone challenged her, calmly and directly, she just couldn't answer. So she ran. She didn't want conversation. She wanted control. But here's the thing, that era is ending. People are honestly tired of these one-sided royal narratives. They're tired of commentators weaponizing race, gender, and tradition to tear people down, just tired of all the spin. Harry and Meghan, well, they're not perfect. No one is. But they are human, and they've told their story clearly and, repeatedly. They've shown who they are through actions, not headlines, through service, not scandals, through family, not feuds. Meanwhile, Angela Levin will keep talking. She'll keep writing op-eds, appearing on panels, and honestly just recycling the same old drama. But fewer and fewer people are listening, because her game is up. She built her house on Meghan's name, but the foundation was never truth. It was bitterness. And when JJ held up that mirror, Angela didn't see a journalist. She saw a caricature, one she could no longer defend. So she did what any crumbling narrative does when confronted by truth. She disappeared, and that's all we need to know. If you found this breakdown helpful, share it. Let the facts speak louder than the spin. Because in the end, truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to be heard. And this time, truth had the mic. Angela dropped it.